Heaven by Rupert Brooke, 1887 to 1915. Fish, fly-replete in depth of June, dawdling away their watery noon, ponder deep wisdom, dark or clear, each secret fishy hope or fear. Fish say they have their stream and pond, but is there anything beyond? This life cannot be all they swear, for how unpleasant if it were. One may not doubt that somehow good shall come of water and of mud, and sure the reverent eye must see a purpose in liquidity. We darkly know, by faith we cry, the future is not wholly dry. Mud unto mud. Death eddies near, not here the appointed end, not here, but somewhere beyond space and time is wetter water, slimier slime, and there, they trust, there swimmeth one who swam ere rivers were begun, immense of fishy form and mind, squamous, omnipotent and kind. And under that almighty fin the littlest fish may enter in. Oh, never fly conceals a hook, fish say in the eternal brook, but more than mundane weeds are there, and mud celestially fair. Fat caterpillars drift around, and paradisal grubs are found, unfading moths, immortal flies, and the worm that never dies. And in that heaven of all they wish, there shall be no more land, say fish. Okay, this is a poem by William Blake. Blake is probably most famous for his optimistic war sonnets at the beginning of the First World War. Brooke was born in Rugby, and he went to Rugby school, and his father was a housemaster there. He then went to King's College, Cambridge. He joined up during the First World War, and he was then posted to go to Gallipoli. On the way to Gallipoli, or when he left, he was ill, and he was bitten by a mosquito and died of septicemia from that mosquito bite. And his body was buried in Greece. Now, this poem is very different to his sonnets. This is a satire, it's a satirical poem, and it's about heaven, or about the human need to believe in an afterlife, and the reasons that man gives to believe in an afterlife. And he uses the fish, or fish in a river, to create a metaphor to this thing. And this poem is about fish believing in an afterlife, that beyond this life there are other things. And he's drawing a parallel with human aspirations and human determination that something must exist beyond this life, despite the fact that there's no evidence for it. And that's why it's called Heaven, because this poem, it's about heaven. In theory it's about heaven for fish, but it's a metaphor for the way humans think about heaven. Fish fly replete in depth of June, dawdling away their watery noon. Ponder deep wisdom, dark or clear, each secret fishy hope or fear. So it's June and the fish are full of flies. They've been eating the flies that have been falling on the river. And they're dawdling, they're relaxing, they're doing nothing in the watery midday. And they're thinking very deeply about dark or clear things. And they're thinking about the future. They're thinking about the hopes and fears of all fish. And this is this is the human race. Fish say they have their stream or pond, but is there anything beyond? So the fish say that they have their stream. Humans say we have this world that we live in, this city, this town. But is there anything after this, after life? This life cannot be all they swear, for how unpleasant if it were. So they say that there's got to be an afterlife, that this world that we live in, it's not you live, you die, and that's an end to it. They're certain that there must be an afterlife, because it would be really unpleasant, it would be really horrible if there weren't. And this is almost this human belief that there must be an afterlife. There must be something afterwards. It's as if humans are driven by a desire for an afterlife to exist. One may not doubt that somehow good shall come of water and of mud. So there can't be any doubt that after being human or being fish made of mud and water, there must be something else. And sure the reverent eye must see a purpose in liquidity. We darkly know, by faith we cry, the future is not wholly dry. So they look at the world and they think about it, and they know for certain that the future is not, that death is not the final frontier, because it's just got to be like that. They can't see it in any other way. And that we have faith, we know that the future is more than that. After death there is something more. Mud unto mud, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, mud to mud. But does life end? Death eddies near. Not here the appointed end, not here. So this can't be the end. When we die, it's not ashes to ashes, dust to dust, end of story. There's got to be something after the moment that we die. But somewhere beyond space and time is wetter water, slimier slime. And the fish say that after they die, they must go somewhere where the water is wetter and the slime is slimier. And this is fish heaven. That somewhere beyond this world is a heaven for the fish, or a heaven for us. And there they trust. There swimmeth one who swam ere rivers were begun. So, and in this place, in this heaven, there is somebody who was swimming swimming before the rivers started. And this is God. There swimmeth one. Look at this capital O. Yeah. So this is God who swam it before the rivers began. Immense of fishy form and mind, squamous, omnipotent and kind. So an enormous fish, the great fish god, and with a great size and with a great mind, and squamous, covered in scales, so covered in fishy scales. And he's omnipotent, he has absolute power, and he's kind. And the fish know that this God exists in this heaven. And under that almighty fin, the littlest fish may enter in. And into this heaven, yeah, under the fin of the Almighty, even the smallest fish have a place in that heaven. And this heaven is a perfect place. Oh, never fly conceals a hook. fish say in the eternal brook. So in this fish heaven, in this heavenly river, there is never a fisherman's hook in the fly to catch the fish. But more than mundane weeds are there, and mud celestially fair. And in that place it's more than just weeds and mud. Yeah, it's more than just beautiful weeds and mud. Fat caterpillars drift around. So there are great big caterpillars for them to eat. And paradisal grubs are found. And they're little grubs to eat as well that come from paradise. Unfading moths, and immortal flies, and the worm that never dies. And there are moths and flies and worms immortal for them to eat. And in that heaven of all their wish, there shall be no more land, say fish. And in this place where there are all the most delicious foods, all the most wonderful insects that they could want. And this is a place where there is no more land, where there is only water, and this is only for them, and this is the perfect place. And this is a satire about human belief in heaven, and how it must be true, that it's got to be true because we want it to be true, rather than something that is logical or based on evidence. Yeah, it's got to be true, because if this isn't true, this would be a horrible thing. This poem was written in 1913, just before the outbreak of the First World War. So, Heaven by Rupert Brooke. Bye for now.